Hi Libra, here is a general look at your solar chart for December 2015 and January 2016. But before I go there, I just want to share some astro thoughts with you. Now that last month I was mentioning the Saturn-Neptune transit, how it's affecting us over November, December, and also popping up again at times in 2016. I also mentioned the Uranus-Pluto transit, and I just want to say something else about that now. These two, of course, are behind the general change, meltdown in some cases, huge radical change going on across the globe, culturally, economically, socially, to do with belief systems as well, especially now that Saturn has come into Sagittarius. I'll be saying more about that in the stars for 2016, which are coming out very shortly now. I just want to mention in the first half of December we have Mars in challenging aspect to Uranus-Pluto. Mars can be a little bit of a trigger for these two, and tensions that are pushed down beneath the surface inherent in the Uranus-Pluto aspect will emerge, will get pushed up, like tectonic plates, kind of buckling and crunching against each other, and then explosions of sort of like, the tension or the volcanic eruptions, and of course it's for a fleeting time. It's just over the first half of December. Every time Mars comes around into a cardinal sign, the same thing's going to happen. Has done in 2015, will do in 2016, and of course in 2014 and 2017, because the Uranus-Pluto transit, even though it's no longer exact, is going to rumble on for a few more years, and we will see the effects globally of this. And those of us who have been on the planet a long time can really see the distinct and marked changes going on, and just how things are run, and not only that, but how the general tone of the way humans are one with one another, coming more from the mental side, the intellectual side, and far less from the heart side, because of course through the internet and through texting and blogging, and we are using our left brain a huge amount more than just meeting people down the pub. So anyway, that's a whole other subject. I just want to mention Mars coming onto here, triggering these two, might be minor in your life, but I'm just looking at the global sort of situation here. The tension build up could, is always looking like a pressure cooker for a way of release. So this could bring out the harsher side, the manipulative, controlling, unscrupulous side, particularly when Mars and Pluto get together. There's usually sort of underhand dealings going on. Or if it doesn't feel like that, then it can just feel like that one has got one's arm twisted up behind one's back because of some kind of emotional blackmail. Now, of course, we can bring these things on ourselves as well, feeling conscientious and obliged, etc. But just want you to be aware of that. So going back to the worldwide sort of influence of this, you can get an idea by the way of where these are in your natal chart, if you have it, by seeing which house they are in and then looking it up online. There's a plethora of information now online for everything to do with astrology, so just find it online. I'm going to tell you where they are in your sun sign forecast a little bit in a few minutes. So the global effects will involve, again, the banks, the governments, the financial property markets, the establishment, the status quo, and of course there's many in these sorts of positions that don't want the power base to shift, and they are in the habit of steamrollering over our universal freedoms. And of course the internet's going to come up as well, in this sort of way, as well as maybe radio and TV, because of Saturn being in the communication sign as Sagittarius. But So one side will tend to feel sort of outraged and victimized, and the other will seem, that they will not have a conscience. They will see it as their inalienable right to do these things, and will seem quite ruthless and only concerned with maintaining the control that they are used to, because they're trying to balance the books, or they just see it as they know better. And then on the flip side, energy levels can be very, very high with Mars Pluto, I have to say. So in your personal life, if you do have a mountain to climb, if you have a fight on your hands, then under this transit, much can be achieved, and you will possibly win as well, because even though Mars is in a contentious sort of angle with Pluto, it's a sort of energy that you need, which is very stubborn, and it's energy that will dig its heels in and help you. It depends on where Mars Pluto, of course, is in your chart. So for some people this will be minor, for others, and then you'll notice people around you that are getting it more strongly because of the degrees. It's always to do with the degrees of these things on a planet or on an important point in the chart. But you'll probably win, but you won't be able to do that without modifying something along the way, without maybe letting go of something and compromising along the way. And you'll have to be canny and intuitive, listen to that gut knowing, as the powers that be, or the controlling faction, whether that's, bosses, teachers, parents, or something even bigger than that, circumstances beyond your control, can feel like it's beyond your ability to do anything about. But this is a great aspect for getting to the bottom of things, digging out the rot, and doing that in whatever way necessary, and then to regenerate, starting with whatever is left to build upon, whether that's in your private life or in across the globe in a bigger sort of a way. And instead of coming from ego, a fear-based mentality, and this is a big ask, because we are in a time of opportunity to shift into a much more expanded, advanced level of consciousness, and this is our invitation. We're still in this in this turning point time, and before the whole thing shuts down, if we can't sort of step up to the plate in some way and do things in a more compassionate, refined, elegant sort of way, instead of just shouting and screaming and shooting at each other, then we're going to end up right back where we were before, and then we have got to wait another few thousand years for the next opportunity to come round again, and that is related to the galactic center. So just thought I'd mention that. And now for the rest of the forecast for December and January 2016 until the 22nd. I mean, it looks like you're going to have a busy time. Until the 22nd, the Sun is in an area of mixing and mingling, meeting and greeting, gathering information, making those really, maybe in some cases, critical connections with others, probably running around more. And there's going to be more to sort of get your head around. Mercury is in there until the 10th. Outgoing, chatty area, lots of correspondence and paperwork compared to what you'd expect normally. Or there could be a tendency to more. And increased interchanges, speculation, bouncing ideas around, and sharing stuff, finding out stuff, sourcing stuff. And then from the 10th, Mercury moves and into a sort of more introspective, quieter area, more to do with the family or place on the map, property, could be about, buying, selling, renting, leasing, more correspondence, more conversations about that kind of thing, or it might not be like that. It might be more to do with conversations to do with the family, to do with the setup, the domestic setup, to do with the neighborhood, and it can just be a more mentally busy time at home, in your own stamping ground, in your own backyard, or indeed if you're not at home, then somewhere you're temporarily calling home. Venus is in your sign, has been in your sign a lot of November, and is still in your sign until the 5th, so that's really nice. Mars is there as well, so really sort of gregarious, high-powered energy. Maybe even for a Libran, and you're quite gregarious yourself, you're thinking, oh, I just need a bit of a rest, because Mars does sort of amp things up a bit. But anyway, meeting the world with enthusiasm, after maybe the previous phase, which was a little bit quieter, and that would have been towards the early part of November, late October, early November. Anyway, so back to the future. So at this time, anyway, from the 5th, relationships of all kinds, business ones, professional ones, and with family, with spouses, lovers, so on. You're just more, available, and others see you as attractive, others like your style. So it's a good time to apply for something if you need to. And then from the 5th, Venus moves into the area concerning money, property, possessions. In both cases, you're not feeling alone in those areas. You're feeling as though, that you're in a little team, or you get maybe not like that. Maybe it's the enablement you need, the facilitation you need. It's that the support is there. And Venus can ease things materially, particularly from the 5th onwards, but I would say the whole time. And can open the path between you and a good deal, or other sorts of goodies and other sort of useful resources. And generally can boost morale. I said Mars was in your sign, will be there all month, so need for you to be decisive, take action, all of that's increasing, and it can bring more hustle and bustle around you. It can mean that you have to sort of be proactive and reach out for things in a physically active way, take decisions, get on with it, and just don't get impatient or spread yourself too thin, as this can happen. So just watch your step as far as accidents are concerned as well, and then you should be absolutely fine. And then the sun moves on the 22nd, and then shines its light into the base of operations wherever you happen to be, and so that puts more of your attention there. Maybe it's about property matters, maybe it's about family, maybe it's about the past and pondering things more, feeling things more deeply. And then that takes us into January, where we have the sun in that area there, but also Mercury shifts into a more fun sort of area. Well, it can be fun, it can be just more playful or more childlike, or maybe you're having more connection with young people and children, maybe playing more and bringing out that inner child of your own, or maybe having more access to leisure and pleasure and entertainment, that kind of thing. Romance always as well in that area there. The only thing to bear in mind, Mercury goes retrograde between the 5th and the 25th. So if you're speculating on possibilities and maybe a little bit wildly, this will tend to sort of slow things down, so you have to sort of pull back a little bit and maybe just have a rethink or maybe think things through a little bit more carefully. If you look this up online, I mean, it's sort of like wall to wall, astrology now, and Mercury retrograde. If you want to look it up, it's in your 5th house. And then we have your ruling planet, Venus, in this really sociable area up until the 24th. So that's nearly the whole month of January, this is, with you again meeting, greeting, mixing, mingling, and being in the sorts of environments where they're more entertaining, or you hear nice things, or you connect with siblings or people who feel quite brotherly or sisterly to you. and yeah, it just oils the wheels there. Also, you can come across in your communications, your correspondence, your emails, your whatever blogs, and all of that in a way that people quite like. And it's good for it's a good bargaining tool to have Venus in that area there. The previous area, she would probably bring towards you material things or material goodies. In this area, it's to do with that silver tongue of yours, and yeah, just being able to sort of use that Libra and charm to maybe wrap people around your little finger, all for the common good, obviously for the good of all. It wouldn't be anything self-centered now, would it? But and really, that is the way that Venus is going to work the best for you. And then Mars, Venus goes out of there into the root of your chart on the 24th, meaning that you can, again, do well with a location, a space, a property, or maybe it's not like that, maybe just enjoying the location, space, property, neighborhood, family, or maybe, and really valuing it, what you've got around you. Or it might not be like, it might be just sort of embellishing things in your space and or property, or it's a good time for anything like that. It also harmonizes and equalizes things if emotionally things have been a bit out of sorts. So that's also a good thing that Venus can do there. And then Mars was in your sign throughout the whole of December. Now we're talking about January. Mars is there until the 4th and then goes out into the area of the piggy bank, property matters, and you working harder and putting more energy out there into improving things to do with the piggy bank, or possessions or resources of various kinds, making decisions on it and then taking the action that's needed, that's necessary, and not again spreading yourself too thin, not taking on too much, understanding that everything in moderation. Mars can just be, can just run till he drops. So just be aware of that as well. And then for the rest of the forecast, all of the other planets are in the same place for both months, starting with Saturn in a really a good angle to your sun sign, in an opportunistic angle, meaning that you can do well if you play your cards right there, and in working more consistently and routinely on the media side, the communication side, the correspondence, the blogging, the publication, the publicizing, getting your ducks in a row to do with the rules and the regulation, being informed, and this transit, and then applying that knowledge as and when is necessary, and working hard, maybe sometimes at overcoming challenges through using your communication skills, your people skills, and just in the background of that, you are on firm ground because you have you have brushed up on your knowledge, or in fact you've learnt what the knowledge is, what the game is about, what the ropes are for this type of skill, this type of knowledge, and also working routinely at maybe communications, at toing and froing, so transport type things, or travel maybe, or transport vehicles of various kinds, air, earth, water, and I don't know what the fire one would be. Yeah, I haven't figured that one out yet. But anyway, and you should be developing your communication skills and your ability to express yourself creatively, maybe in the best way that you can, through arts, of course, as well. And you Librans born the 28th of September to the 4th of October, or with 6 to 12 degrees rising, are going to feel that energy the most. And then from the 3rd of October to the 7th of October, you're going to be feeling that energy the most in January. And then Jupiter is in the sign before yours. So until next September, you're tying up loose ends from the past. You're maybe just reviewing things. You're in a reviewing sort of mood, and maybe learning how to heal the consequences of the past, how to make the most of whatever experiences or decisions or actions were taken in the past, and looking at why you keep falling down the same old hole in the road and doing something about it. Collaborations and projects which are nurturing and caring for yourself or for others. You can be there as the facilitator for others who need your knowledge, who need your support, who need to lean on you, and learning from that and getting a lot out of that. And you're likely to grow into a deeper understanding by being the facilitator, the supporter in the background, or by having more interaction with facilitators and background people, people who serve, people who heal, people who help. So that can be for yourself as playing those roles, or having more interaction with people who do that kind of thing and who've got a skill, you know, in that service-orientated area. And you Librans born the 12th to the 17th of October, or 20 to 24 degrees rising in both December and January, you're going to feel that energy the most. So it doesn't shift very much at all in January. But of course, that's the most. The whole of the sign is going to feel the energy. And then Uranus, you Librans born the 7th to the 11th of October, or with 15 to 18 degrees, 15 to the 7th to the 10th, or 15 to 70 degrees rising in December, or the 7th to the 11th, or 15 to 18 degrees rising in January. Are you following this? And then Pluto, you Librans born 6th to the 9th of October, or 13 to 16 degrees rising for December. I mean, they hardly move. And in January, those of you born 7th to the 10th, or with 14 to 17 degrees rising, you're going to feel that energy the most in January. And that is it for the for 2015. I hope you have a really nice time over the festive season. Pretty soon now, before you get a chance to draw breath, the stars for the whole of 2016 are going to come out. They'll be up on my website, and I'll be speaking them on video as well. And all of this, by the way, is on my website. You can go and check out some of this. It's written up there, without all the asides and the speculation, of course. And if you know your rising sign and your moon sign, you can listen to those. That will give you some more information if you haven't had enough already. And that's it. I'll see you the next time.